Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you. Bottom of the eighth inning. Good guys up 5-0. Jock Peterson up to bat. First homer against a left-handed pitcher in years for Jock Peterson. A little bit earlier on, by the way. Jock 1-2 count with 2 outs. Rangers trying to tack on. Merrill Kelly with the masterpiece today. He said, Jack Leiter, okay, I see you. I see you, young gun. Let me go ahead and match it. Merrill Kelly, 7 shutout innings tonight. You love to see it coming together this weekend. Angels coming up next. They've been a little bit of an issue for the Rangers. I think the Rangers are still leading the season series there, but they definitely have had their ups and downs against Anaheim over the course of the 162 in 2025. But Jacob deGrom on the mound tomorrow. That's a guy that's got to turn it around against the Angels. Feels like every time Jacob deGrom has faced LA, it has not been one of his better starts. You'd love for him to put together a masterpiece. Now, the one thing I do think deGrom has going for him, I feel like all of his starts against LA have come on the road. Maybe pitching at Globe Life, there's a little bit of a difference. I would hope. We're going to get into that and a lot more. But first of all, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything Texas sports. Big emphasis placed, though, on the Rangers during the MLB season. And we thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all of your Texas Rangers content. Don't know what Jock was swinging at there, but he is going to strike out on a pitch about a foot above the zone. It's been a pretty good day for Jock Peterson all in all, but that was not one of his better plate appearances or swings. And we are headed to the top of the ninth with the Rangers trying to preserve the 5-0 lead. We'll see who comes on. I think Maton was warming up. We'll see if he can come in, maybe close this one out. We'll see to what direction the Rangers want to go here. Austin, appreciate you tuning in, man. Thanks so much. Good to see you. And we'll be getting to comments definitely much more after the game is over, which hopefully will be pretty quickly here, but feel free to drop a comment. Hit that like, hit that screen a couple of times. Appreciate it. If you're on YouTube right now or X watching and you still have not liked the live, give it a like. I know it seems like maybe a pretty small deal, but it helps us out a lot, especially on TikTok. Whenever you like the show, if you're just hanging out watching, whenever you like the show, it just helps bring more attention to the channel, to the account, and we greatly appreciate it. A lot of ways to support the show. That's definitely a big one for you. Thank you guys so much. And hey, if you're hanging out right now, you haven't hit that follow button yet, it's a great time to do it. Maybe you haven't been hanging out for long, but it's a pretty chill vibe here at Right on Rangers. We get fired up depending on the content of the game and what's been happening. But you know what? It's definitely good having all you guys here. You guys help keep the show fresh. If you're new, feel free to drop a comment. We get to just about everything of substance at some point or another. And so, look, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys for the next hour, hour and a half or so. We got a great show in store for you, and it's always better doing a live in the middle of a Rangers win and hopefully an ultimate Rangers win here. So, look, I'll start with Merrill Kelly. I led off a couple of different times talking about this in previous Merrill Kelly starts. I'm definitely going to continue to just hammer this one home every single Merrill start. The Rangers have to do everything humanly possible to re-sign this guy. Everything humanly possible. I think that you traded 3 top 15 prospects in the farm system. You've got a guy that you really were banking on to help you in October. That may or may not happen. It depends on the results of the rest of the year. You have to try and re-sign Merrill Kelly. I think that it might actually make the trade somewhat worth it if you can execute it. If you can get Merrill Kelly back on a multi-year deal, it does help make the trade more worth it. I don't know if you can say completely worth it. I don't know if you can make it an honest 100 worth it, 100 not. I think that at this point, it's definitely going to be a bad trade if the Rangers cannot bring this guy back. You're going to need to replace Tyler Mahle and John Gray, righties in the rotation. I think you've got to go out and get Merrill Kelly. If you can't sign him because somebody else offers more, so be it. But I think you've got to do everything possible to make the best offer to him that you can. I think that you have really at this point a couple of other options if Merrill Kelly is not able to re-sign for whatever reason or not able to be re-signed. But you have got to put your best foot forward to go get this guy. And I'd love to have him in the rotation. You're telling me you wouldn't like a 1-2-3 punch of deGrom, Evo, and then Merrill Kelly? Who wouldn't like that 1-2-3 punch? Somebody just being straight up picky. Look, we've seen this guy dominate, absolutely dominate in October. That's what I'm most concerned about. As Josh Young turns a nifty little double play here, Guardians are down to their last out. Nice double play turn by Josh Young. He was pulled over in the shift. Did a little shovel over to Seager. Seager flips it over to Rowdy. Good stuff. Jacob deGrom pitching tomorrow. Again, Evo. And then you have Merrill Kelly. 1, 2, 3. It's just beautiful. Into 2026, I think it has to be one of the top priorities. Ethan, something like that. Multi-year. Definitely a multi-year. I think it's going to be tough to not get Merrill a 3-year deal. I think Merrill's going to command 3 years. I know he's getting up there in age, but a 3-year deal probably makes a little bit more sense to me. I think that's what it's going to take in order to sign him. Would you like to be able to maybe give 2 years and then a club option for a third? Sure. I do think there's going to be a number of teams that are willing to give Merrill Kelly 3 years, and so I think you're going to have to probably go 3, potentially a mutual option for a 4th, something like that. Rangers are going to win this one. Cue the I Like Texas music. Hello, wink column. Rangers sweep the Guardians, and they head into tomorrow's series with the Angels on a nice little win streak, playing very complete baseball. You score 5 runs today. You get the elite pitching that you've gotten all year long. You've got Jacob deGrom throwing tomorrow. You've got Nathan Eovaldi throwing in the final game, I believe, of the series against the Angels on Wednesday. You've got a lot of good stuff ahead of you coming up. Then you go to Sacramento. You play a beatable but scrappy A's team. There's multiple series in a row here. You got the Diamondbacks, I believe, after the A's. You've got about 3 series in a row here that you should be winning. 3 in a row. I think that the Rangers have a chance between Monday and next Wednesday. 10 days. You've got a 10-day stretch where you have got some very winnable ball games and potentially sweepable series. We're going to see how this thing goes. We've got a lot of hope after a sweep. I'll say that. We'll see what happens with the results today. I've got a lot of hope after a sweep like this. You know, you win 2 out of 3. It's not like you don't have any hope, but you got to start putting together some win streaks if you do want to get back to October. This team can do it, but you've got to put up or shut up at some point. And the words of the great Rowdy Tellez, who had an outstanding game today, it's about what happens when the lights are turned on, man. You've got to make sure that you are executing when it matters most. And the Rangers did that this weekend. They got 3 in a row over the Guardians, a team that's directly in front of them in the playoff race. By the way, an interesting notification for tomorrow. Nolan Schanuel from the Angels placed on the IL, 10-day IL today. So that's one less bat that we'll have to deal with over the 3-game set coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Soldier, what's good, man? Look, it's a fair point. Rangers have been really good at home this year, and they have been below average on the road. They have got to figure that out. Got to figure that out. Yeah, Chase, you're kind of echoing the same thing here. They definitely look like a playoff baseball team when they play at Globe Life. They look like a very mediocre to below average team when they get on the road. Dan, good to see you, man. 100% great win. Absolutely outstanding win. TLC, you're right on this one. This sweep keeps the hope alive. No doubt it keeps the hope alive. You just have to look at the standings at this point and play a little bit of the scoreboard watching game. But look, they were 4.5 out coming into this one. You've still got a number of games left to be played. Encouraging, Still got a ways to go, but you got to be encouraged by what you are seeing out there right now. Rangers get back to 500, by the way. They are now 66-66. They passed the Guardians, who are now on a 5-game losing streak. They now have the Royals and the Mariners ahead of them in the wild card chase. We go to the scores around the league, and then after this, we're going to get into a bunch of different comments. So if I missed something that you said, please feel free to drop it again. But scores from around the league today, in terms of the teams that are directly ahead of the Rangers. First of all, Yankees, Red Sox tonight. I think at this point, you got to cheer for the Yankees to lose. That's not a hard thing to do, by the way. That's a pretty easy thing for me to do, although Red Sox are ahead of the Rangers as well. I think at this point, with the Red Sox already having beat up on the Yankees, let's just go for the sweep, the trifecta in the Bronx. I can only imagine what Yankees fans and what that media is doing to the players right now, getting swept by the Red Sox in a playoff race. My goodness, man. So you've got that game still yet to be played. That's Sunday Night Baseball. Mariners are killing it against the A's right now, 11-1. That's unfortunate. Mariners just put up a 6th spot in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So looks like the Mariners are going to be maintaining their position. The Royals did win today as well, 10-8. So not the best of days for Texas to gain, but at the same time, you beat a team that's directly ahead of you. You leapfrog the Guardians. You've got the Astros having lost today, I believe, 3-2, yes. And potentially the Yankees maybe taking an L. They do have Rodon on the mound. May is on the mound for the Red Sox. He's been a little up and down. Rodon obviously has been pretty solid. So a Yankees loss would definitely help make this win a little bit more meaningful. Either way, it's a great win. Great sweep. Brad, good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Evan, appreciate the follow. Thank you to everybody else that has followed so far. Hey, hit that follow button. If you've been hanging out for a little while, hit that follow button. We talk baseball every day. Obviously, you see the team that's behind me on the wall, team I've got on my chest. We talk a lot of Rangers ball, but we talk baseball in general around the league. We talk division rivalries. We talk a lot of good stuff, especially now that we're heating up towards the postseason. Definitely drop that follow. Appreciate it. Hit that follow button. Hit the screen a couple of times on TikTok. Give the show a few likes here and there. I'd appreciate it. It helps get the show out there to more and more people. I know it might seem like a really small deal, but appreciate that. If you get a little bit of spare time, it would mean a lot. Keep rolling. What do we got? Definitely 30 left to play, 21-9. We said 22-9 at this point. Last game afterwards. So 21-9. Feels like something that they can do. I think it would go a long way to sweep and win this series with the Angels at home. And then you can go into the road with maybe a little bit more leeway. You've got A's and you've got Diamondbacks on the road coming up after the Angels series. Then you've got Houston back at home the following weekend. If you can sweep the Angels and then you can go to the West Coast, to Arizona, to Sacramento, and you know what, maybe not sweep, but win 2 out of 3 in those series, that'd be huge. I would love for the Rangers to give themselves a little bit of wiggle room going into the road trip, considering how they play on the road. Natalie, that'd be outstanding. If we can get some consistency, I'd love it. Let's see what else we got here. Hey, appreciate the follow. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Pitching this series was on fire. Absolutely. Ryan, I might be. I just broke the record for most home runs by a catcher. I'm going for 50 bombs next. Might be winning the MVP. And, of course, putting forth an MVP podcast and Ride on Rangers as well. Can just do it all. Some people are built different. Bombs, 50+, and then doing great things. Moonlighting as a Rangers podcaster. Let's go. Any loss above us in the chase keeps us close. Absolutely. It is hard to sweep teams. Look, I'm with you. It is hard to sweep teams. But with that being said, if you can sweep the Angels and then go on the road trip, you have a little wiggle room. If it doesn't go 100% your way, winning 6 in a row would be huge. We also have to catch him past Seattle. With Seattle and New York tied, basically, we need New York to go on a slide. That's our path. The problem is New York and Seattle each hold the tiebreaker over us. So, yeah, you do have to have some fortuitous results above you. There's no doubt about it. But I do think that the Rangers, if they continue to win at the clip Ethan and I were talking about, 21-9, I think you're going to be in it. You do have to tack on an additional game, though, with New York and with Seattle, unfortunately. If you would have swept New York, you could have had the tiebreaker over the Yankees. They lost that Wednesday game. Just unfortunate, but it is what it is. Got to control what you can control. Back at 500, JBJ, yes, sir. I'm not DFAing Jock next year to play for another team. He just needs to lose 20 pounds. I don't know if he's going to lose 20 pounds, Ethan, but I am starting to imagine a scenario where Jock Peterson is above average next year, and I am really liking what I am seeing in that vision. If we can get Jock Peterson playing above average baseball against right-handers especially, you would love to see it happen, because the Rangers have had clearly a lot of miserable experiences with a lot of different guys. Really regressing and falling off a cliff, especially in the front part of this season. If Jock came out swinging, firing next year, that would really go a long way in this team. First of all, getting off to a good start. Second of all, potentially not having to do this dig yourself out of a really deep hole at the end of the year. We keep rolling. Got to win the next 3 games to even have a chance to be in the hunt. I don't think that you have to sweep the Angels in order to have a chance. I think you got to win the series. I don't think there is any way that you can lose this series and still come out feeling great. Again, nothing's impossible, but you just can't drop this series with the Angels. You got to take 2 out of 3. Thursday, day off, by the way. That reminds me, this week's going to be a little bit interesting. We will be live tomorrow. Tuesday night, we may not be able to do a show. I've got a lot going on this week. Wednesday, I don't think we'll be doing a show either. Thursday, we'll definitely do a show on the off day. So because of the busyness, I'll probably do an off day show on Thursday. But this week, I may not be available Tuesday, Wednesday to close out, just depending on the work schedule. If I am available on Tuesday, it will be very, very late. So it'll be a true late night Right on Rangers if I'm able to go on Tuesday. Definitely won't be able to go on Wednesday, but I will do a Thursday off day podcast to kind of wrap up the Angels series and also look forward to the series that they have in Sacramento over the weekend against the A's. So I'll throw that out there a few times to give you some friendly reminders, but that's the crystal ball for you on Right on Rangers. Let's talk about this. Justin, appreciate you. And Andrew, appreciate you too. Good to see you, my guy. Yeah, Rowdy's been a godsend. I mean, I said it. I tweeted it out during the game. Is Rowdy the catalyst that you look back? Hey, when did the Rangers go from, when the Rangers went, I should say, from being completely putrid on offense to being borderline watchable, which I think right now they clearly are. They are borderline watchable offensively. We know that the pitching's elite. Do you point back to Rowdy and the signing of Rowdy Tellez as a turning point? I think there's an argument for it. He has been one of the most consistent Rangers hitters. We're talking about a guy with an 825 plus OPS in his time with the Rangers. That is among the tops of all of our hitters. I think that there is an argument to be made that Rowdy Tellez was a bit of a turning point for the Texas offense. Yes, there are some other things involved with that too, no doubt. It's not really an argument that I'm going to die for, but I will say this. I think if you threw it out there, there's not a lot that you can say in rebuttal to it. I think when they got Rowdy on board, they changed. Something flipped. And you've seen him come up with some big hits, some big homers, and just be a consistent producer against righties. I think that you have to give a lot of credit to the front office, first of all, for bringing in Rowdy Tellez. Look, we rail on the front office, right? I have definitely been critical of Chris Young and company, Fenstermaker, Figueroa, all those guys. This is a time to praise. They didn't have to sign Rowdy Tellez. They didn't have to put out a flyer and see what would happen. They did. They went and got Rowdy Tellez. They got him in the lineup. Rowdy, to his credit, has produced. Great quote, by the way, from Rowdy Tellez. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Rowdy basically, Laura Stickles on the broadcast threw this out there. Rowdy's quote to Laura was essentially like, it doesn't matter if you're like a clubhouse guy or, what you're doing off the field. What matters is how you play when the lights are bright. And I love that quote from him because we have a number of people, a number of fans that really focus on the intangibles. A clubhouse guy, the vibes, we just need a glue guy in the clubhouse. I got to go with Rowdy, man. Rowdy is 100% right with that quote. It's about performance. I don't care if you're a rah-rah clubhouse guy. That doesn't matter when you're in the box against a pitcher. And so I like it. Not that you can't be a good dude to have on the team. Not that you can't be an outstanding teammate. You should be. That's the right thing to do. But what matters most is how do you perform on the field? And Rowdy has been incredible. Now, Justin, I want to get to your comment here. When will Bochy stop batting Smith leadoff? You guys already know how I feel about this. Maggie, appreciate the gift, by the way. Thank you so much for the generosity. It means so much. I am not a big fan of Josh Smith continuing to hit leadoff. We've explained why, but I'll go ahead and I'll remind. Last 15 games, Josh Smith is below the Mendoza line. Josh Smith has walked 3 times in his last 16 ball games. That is not a leadoff hitter. It's not a leadoff hitter. 3 walks in your last 16 games? We love Josh Smith. I love the versatility. Look, and I'm not even going to say master of none. He's a jack of all trades. He can play left field. He can play right field. He can play second base, shortstop, third base, first base. There's like 2 positions that Josh Smith can't play. You got to have guys that are versatile like that. I think Josh Smith doesn't necessarily need to get benched. Right now, I'll tell you this, though. I'd rather Cody Freeman play over Josh Smith. I'd rather have Cody in the lineup right now. This isn't a time for loyalist mode, and we know Bochy is a bit of a loyalist. This is not time for loyalist mode. This is time to play the best players. Cody Freeman, I would much rather have in the lineup right now over Josh Smith. I don't think that you need to bench Josh Smith for all eternity, but I do think you need to stop hitting him leadoff. We have season hanging by a thread, season hanging in the balance right now. We cannot afford to continue to bat Josh Smith leadoff. He has 3 walks in his last 16 games, and over his last 16 games, he's hitting under 200. That is not a leadoff hitter. You know who is a leadoff hitter? Wyatt Langford, who continued to get on base today, had a couple of RBI on a bit of a fluky hit. And I know Josh Smith had a hit today too. Again, pretty fluky, kind of going off of Wyatt Langford's. Josh Smith is not smoking the baseball right now. The hit that Josh Smith had, if you're just box score cherry picking, was a little bloop over the third baseman's head. Josh Smith is not killing the ball right now. I don't think Josh Smith needs to get benched. I don't think anything drastic needs to happen with him. But could we please stop hitting him leadoff? That would be my biggest request here. Stop hitting him leadoff, please. Do we get rid of Duran? No. I think you continue to hold on to him. This is kind of Duran's last dance, though. In 2025, I kind of felt like Duran's got to show you something, or he might be a non-tender next year. He might be playing himself into a 2026 role with how he's hitting right now. He really might be. Kyle Schwarber comp is a new one. I haven't heard the Kyle Schwarber comp yet this year. Somebody on TikTok just dropped a Kyle Schwarber comp. I've gotten Cal Raleigh about no less than 1,000 times. But Kyle Schwarber, that's a new one. I'll take Kyle. Look, again, keep comparing me. I say it every show. Keep comparing me to millionaires that are really, really successful at what they do. I'll take it. Cody's got a hot bat with Simi on the IL. He's got to keep hot bats in the lineup. Andrew, thank you. Hey, thank you. Like, you've got to keep hot bats in the lineup right now. And look, historically, to your point, Josh Smith has hit better down in the order, and Josh Smith has also hit better in the first half of seasons. He is becoming a bit of a second half fader. I've used that expression a number of different times. Again, this is coming from someone that loves Smitty. I love everything he brings. He's a guy that puts the ball in play, albeit right now the contact is not super high quality, but he doesn't strike out a lot. He did have a bad strikeout today looking, but he doesn't strike out a ton. He does put the ball in play. He just doesn't walk, and the quality is not very high the contact is not very high quality. And advanced stats would back me up on that. I mean, I'm happy to go look them up if you doubt it, but I hope you trust it at this point. We rarely just throw things out and just see if they stick. We're looking at Baseball Savant about every day on most of these guys. Josh Smith, to me, needs to be hitting 6th or 7th in the order, period. Keep rolling. Appreciate that, Ray. Thanks for all the comments, my guy. Rangers bullpen is the best bullpen right now. I don't think there's a whole lot to argue with that. The Rangers bullpen is very, very good. It only got made better at the trade deadline. The Rangers bullpen and pitching, I think, is the best in baseball. I don't really think there's a big debate there. Numbers-wise, eye test-wise, pedigree-wise, you've got Merrill Kelly, Jacob deGrom, and Nathan Eovaldi in the same rotation. I think that even if you asked a casual against all the other teams, you stack up those three, I feel like the Rangers are going to be at the top with about every person you ask. I'd love to hear the rebuttals of who's a better 1, 2, 3 in baseball. And we have not even gotten Tyler Mahle back. Can you imagine a postseason where you get to start deGrom, Evo, Kelly, Mahle, games 1, 2, 3, and 4? You got to feel outstanding for that. Outstanding to get that opportunity to throw those guys. I mean, look, best pitcher in baseball is debatable. I would probably go with Nathan Eovaldi right now myself. I think Nathan Eovaldi is extremely underrated in the national media. Nathan Eovaldi is the ERA leader right now in all of baseball. I think I got to go with Nathan Eovaldi. But Ranger Suarez, obviously a great pick, and there's a lot of other great picks out there. That's debatable. We're talking best rotation, and I don't think there's any question at this point. Marco, absolutely. Absolutely. J.O., we'll see. We'll see. You can say it out loud. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, bro. 6-man postseason rotation? Yeah, I don't think so, Andrew. I don't think so. I think you want deGrom and Evo throwing the baseball as much as possible in the postseason. I think they'll go 4-man rotation. And I think in Game 5, you're probably asking deGrom or Evo to go on shorter rest. It'll probably still be 4 days rest with the off days that they throw in between there. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to do a 5-man rotation, let alone a 6-man rotation. John, I'm with you. Wyatt has to lead off the rest of the year. Update on Mahle. I heard he was throwing live bullpens, but he hasn't been sent out on a rehab assignment yet. Jack, not sure on Chris Martin. He threw a bullpen, a live session, I think yesterday. And we discussed the Rangers are shutting him down. So we might have to potentially wait until October to see Chris Martin again. I really do hope we see the injured players back as well. Carter, I don't think we're going to see Carter back. You fracture something. Think about how long it took Jock Peterson to come back after fracturing his hand. Jock Peterson, he was supposed to be out like 4 to 6 weeks. It ended up being like 8. So I'm not super hopeful on Evan Carter unless you make a deep October run. We're talking ALCS or World Series. We might see him back at that point. Not sure. Chris Martin was in the bullpen today. Yeah, I think they've just kind of decided shut down and go from there. Jack, 100%. We're all rooting for him. Absolutely, my guy. I don't think Martin makes it back. Jared, thanks for the comment. Yeah, I'm skeptical myself. I don't want to say that out loud, but I am skeptical myself if Martin has potentially thrown his last pitch. You'd love for him to get back by the end of September, early October if the Rangers are still in it, but it's going to be tough. He's dealt with injuries all year long. It's not like this is just one crazy random. It's something that's actually been kind of consistent, Chris Martin dealing with injuries. So I really kind of doubt at this point that Chris Martin is going to be back for the regular season. He might be a postseason guy if the Rangers can make it that far, possibly. Brandon, look, you kind of hear how we're talking about the postseason, right? I'm using if a lot. I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion that Texas makes it to October. I think I've said if Texas makes it probably about 5 or 6 times. Like, obviously, I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to continue to see things glass half full, find the silver linings, all that good stuff. But no, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. Texas makes it into October. Do I think that they've got a good chance? I actually do. I think that it's a lot higher than what FanGraphs is showing at this point. The bottom line is, if you're winning ball games, it's going to be hard for the Rangers not to be able to make up ground in 30 games. It's going to be hard. You have an opportunity with some teams that you're playing ahead of you, maybe playing some tough schedules, tough opponents. You can't control everything. But if the Rangers go 21-9 over their next 30 games, which is tough but doable, a record like that, I think, probably gets you in. We'll see what happens. We will. Playoff chances after the sweep, I think we probably made it back to double digits. Like, we were down to like 6 or 7% before the series. I think we were up to 9% before the game today. I'd imagine that this win probably gets us into double digits. Keep rolling. What happened to Brock Porter? Brock Porter is a guy that the Rangers drafted in the, I believe, Kumar Rocker draft in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And Brock was going to go to college. I forget if it was like Clemson or something like that. Rangers were able, I think, to offer him above slot and get him to sign. And he was definitely one of the top prospects in the organization when he got entered in. He was definitely a top high school prospect, but he has not quite found his stride yet. I mean, if we looked up Brock Porter's numbers right now, I can give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. I checked on his stats, I want to say probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. Haven't really checked since. Brock Porter, by the way, is at single A. Yeah, he was drafted in the 4th round of that 22 draft. That was the Kumar Rocker draft. 322 average. Waffle Man, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the gifts. 322 ERA is not terrible. It's not terrible. But for a guy that's been in the organization for 3 years now, he has dealt with some injuries. So, look, definitely take that for what it is. 68 games in, let's see, a total of about 3.5 years. Probably you'd like to see some of these numbers be a little bit better, but it's not bad. Now, last year in 24, it was bad. Brock Porter had a 6.98 ERA in 2024. He's down to 3.22 ERA this year. Definitely better. I think that he is on a good track. Like I said, I've watched from afar his games here and there, his numbers here and there. I've noticed he's kind of dropped a little bit on the prospect list. I always look at the Rangers' top 30 prospects. He's done a little bit of sinking. He was up in the top 10 at one point, I believe. I don't think I'm making that up. I think Brock Porter was a top 10 Rangers prospect at one point early on when they first drafted him. I don't know where he's at right now. Let me see. Rangers top prospects. Come on now. Let's see if I can get it up for you guys pretty quickly. I know they just shifted a bunch around too. So Brock Porter. Oh man, is he even in the top 30 anymore? Wow. Where is it? Dude's not even in the top 30 anymore. That's crazy. So Brock is obviously going to need to make up some ground. Do I get an update? Do I got an update on Jake Berger? I think that Berg right now is just continuing to rest up, heal up. I don't think there's plans for him to go out on a rehab assignment or anything like that. Have not gotten a real big update on Jake Berger at this point. I think the last I saw was late last night. I got the notification that he was beginning to swing a bat. So I think he's swinging right now, but I think that's about it. I don't think there's a whole lot else. Who is not? Brandon, is this about Berger not getting off the bench to support his team? Yeah, who knows? I hate to cherry pick and nitpick those little moments, but still. Seager, huh? Yeah, Seager is one of those dudes. I mean, he definitely, I think, is a great guy. Kind, good dude. But I just think he's one of those odd ducks that is just like a different person during the game. Just locked in, robotic in a good way. You know, maybe a little bit Max Scherzer-esque, like just that much in a zone, not really paying attention to a whole lot else. Now, you see Corey go and celebrate with people here and there. Who knows what was going on? He never does? I don't know if he never does. Never? Jeez. Shane, that feels a little bit over the top. I would be really shocked if it was never. Do I think this turnaround can hold up and get us in the postseason? Absolutely. I think that the Rangers have to play really good baseball over the next 30 games, though. Jack, exactly. It really is what he is. He is AI's first baseball player, feels like, with Corey Seager when he steps in between the lines. Spores, I think, is back in Round Rock. And remember, we looked at some of his velos. Spores is topping out at like 93, 94, y'all. Like, I'm not super optimistic right now about Spores and where he's at. I got to see that velo touch 95 before I start getting excited. Like, you know, he's 92, 93. I think topped out at 93.9 on the fastball. It's just hard. I can't get excited about that. I really can't. I think you've got to get that velo up for me to really be excited about Josh Spores coming back. And there's a part of me, I'm not going to lie to you guys, there's a part of me that wonders, is Josh Spores in that class with some of the rest of the 2023 guys? I'm actually interested to hear y'all's take on this. And we're not hating, we're not trying to troll, not trying to be disrespectful to Josh Spores, but a part of me does genuinely wonder with Spores, is he kind of in that group of guys in 23 that overperformed? And we have this kind of rose-colored glasses view, this rose-colored glasses perspective on Josh Spores. I mean, right now, 93. I mean, Josh Spores was upper 90s guy when he was 2023, 2022 throwing for us. I think if Josh cannot get that velo up, I'm not really expecting super big things out of him. I think he's another arm. I think he's a guy that's got playoff experience, and that's great. I'm not really counting on Spores to be a major factor in the pen, topping out at 93. Would love to be wrong on that, but we've already got right-handed soft throwers. Phil Maton, I mean, he is a low 90s guy, righty. And we maybe, I think, could still use Spores because of the Martin injury, but I got to be honest, guys, a low 90s righty does not do a whole lot for me. Who was better? That's a good question. Better pitching performance, Leiter or Kelly? For me, it feels like Leiter just because it was so needed. I think you kind of expect these kinds of performances from Merrill Kelly, and so it doesn't really surprise you when Merrill comes out and does this. We all watched it happen in Game 2 of the World Series. We all watched it happen. So for me, I think it's Leiter just because it's surprising in a really, really good way that Jack did what he did last night. I mean, look, regardless of whether you felt like Jack was going to come out and pitch well, I don't think anybody predicted 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, 2 hits, no walks. Maybe some of y'all, like Dan, I know you predicted 7 good innings. I don't know if you had 7 shutout, 2 hit, 10 K innings on your bingo card. I think that most of us were probably very pleasantly surprised with what we saw from Jack the other night. That's why I probably give him the little nudge. Certified bench warmer, Bradford, I think is going to come back probably all-star break second half, if I had to guess. I think that's probably what you're going to hope for Cody Bradford, maybe sooner, but I'm going to keep my expectations for Cody Bradford. Remember, he didn't have the full Tommy John surgery. Cody Bradford had the
brace, like I don't know the exact terminology, but he had the lesser form, the brace form of the surgery, and he's not going to be out as long as traditional Tommy John. So I'm going to go for we see him in the second half of 2026. Keep rolling. Appreciate you guys. Hey, Cesar, appreciate the follow, man. Thank you so much. According to Evan Grant, Brock Porter is about done with baseball. His fastball has dropped to 90 miles an hour. Jeez. Brody, that is a gut punch. And look, I'm watching results. I'm not watching pitch by pitch with Brock Porter. That is a bit of a gut punch. I mean, look, at least he's only a fourth round guy. He's not like a first round guy, but still. Look, Noel, I would definitely feel good about deGrom. I'm a little bit nervous about the Angels outings that he's had, but I like that it's at home. And third time's a charm. It feels like he's had a couple of rough starts against the Angels. Hopefully third time's a charm. Jack, I do think it was that Shohei surgery. I think you're right on that. Eagle run 100%. We're still talking playoff runs. Yes, sir. Jack, I think that's got to be the hope. And that's kind of what I said. Like, if the Rangers don't make the playoffs, shut down Josh Sborz. Like, shut him down. He's already done, like, the, ramp up, shut down a couple of times. I think at this point, if the Rangers really don't need it, shut him down. Seager is just about baseball 24/7. That's his business. I'm okay with that. Get the job done. Come in clutch. All I could ask for. Antonio, I'm really with you on this. Look, and it goes back to what Rowdy Tellez said to Laura Stickles the other day, whenever that was that she interviewed him. Like, we can be nitpicky about how rah-rah are you, how good of a teammate are you, how big of a vibes guy are you in the dugout, whatever. Like, just produce, please. Just produce on the field. Like, yes, if Corey Seager was, like, possessing a little bit more charisma and bravado, would all of us probably enjoy it? Yeah. Although there is a little bit more mystique about Corey Seager, a little bit more legendary that he kind of just puts his head down and just continues to nuke baseballs all over the yard. Like, I can see both sides. I really can. But at the end of the day, can I just get a guy that produces? So, Antonio, I'm totally with you on the Corey Seager comments, bud. Yeah, Jack, I think it is a fine line. I think, the Rangers right now with Martin and the injury and with some guys a little bit up and down in the bullpen in terms of performance, I think there definitely is a push to get Josh Sborz back. I don't think that they will be putting him in jeopardy, but yeah, I think there is probably an ideal with Josh of maybe giving him a little bit more rest, but you're trying to get him back for a potential playoff run. Absolutely. I think this is a good perspective. I'm glad, Antonio, you weren't like, you got to go 8-1 or 9-0. I'm with this comment. Like, if you can go 6-3, Antonio says, or 7-2 the next 9 games, that brings me more hope. I'm absolutely with that. I'd love to sweep the Angels at home. Minimum, you got to win 2 out of 3. I'd love to sweep the Angels at home. And then on the road, I'm a little bit open for different results. I think you still got to win the series in Sacramento. I think you have to win the series in Arizona. That's starting, I think, Labor Day. But I don't think you got to win every single ball game. I think 6-3 is a great spot to be in. If you can be 6-3 going into the Silver Boot Series, not this coming weekend, but the next one, that's a great place. It's a great place, really is. How do I like the Longhorns' chances this game and for the season? I think it's going to be a tough first game. I definitely feel like a lot of people are taking on the Longhorns are overrated topic, not really thinking for themselves. I think Texas is going to be really good. I would be shocked if they didn't make the playoff. I think most people have them making the playoff, especially now that it's a bit expanded. And I definitely feel pretty confident about the national title chances. College football is crazy. But now that you have, like I said, more teams with the chance to get in, I'm feeling pretty good about the year ahead. And I'm looking forward to getting into the Longhorns content, college football content, NFL, Cowboys content. It's going to be great. I know not all of y'all are Cowboys fans or Longhorns fans. Those are two of the teams beyond the Rangers that we cover pretty exclusively here on the channel. As I say, whether you're a fan or not, drop by, talk football, talk a little trash if you must. It'll be great. Do we have any more series against other wildcard teams? If you count the Guardians as a wildcard team, Jack, because the last series of the season is against Cleveland, and we play in Cleveland. So if you count the Guardians, then yes. If not, I don't think so. We play Houston. Houston a couple more times could be a wild card team, depending on what happens with the AL West race. We'll see what happens there. Paul, I'm with you. I sure hope Rangers are back. I sure hope so. Go Rockets. Go Mavs, baby. Mavs fan for life. That's another team we're going to start getting into as the fall gets in full effect. Rangers to the NL Central. Caleb, by the way, appreciate the follow, man, if you're still hanging out. Man, for me, some of the divisions they've been coming out with are wild, man. Like, not in a good way wild. Like, I've seen some doozies for the Rangers division realignment. I think if you're trying to go for max entertainment, obviously the Astros got to be in it. I think the Cardinals in the same division as the Rangers would be great just from the perspective of the World Series. You know, there's still a little bit of bad blood there, or at least a bad taste in the mouth of Rangers fans towards the Cardinals. I think that would be fun. Cardinals obviously are a very historic franchise, typically well supported, although this is one of the first years I feel like in St. Louis, at least maybe that I've really noticed, a little bit of a fall off in the support of the team. Usually, rain or shine, that stadium is sold out, and I've seen a lot of empty shots of Busch Stadium this year. Kind of sad, honestly. Some of y'all know I was born in St. Louis, lived there in probably my early, elementary years before I moved to Texas. Definitely remember going to Cardinals games. Look, definitely rooted for the Cardinals when I was there. Before they ever met in the World Series, became a full Rangers convert. It's tough. You're a little kid. All your friends are rooting for a team. It's just kind of what you do. But I will say I never remember that ballpark not being full, even when the Cardinals were losing. I think that'd be fun. This, to me, Jack, I mean, I don't mean to pick on you, brother. You know I love you, and I love the comments. I just would be so disappointed if our division ends up being Astros, Royals, Rockies. Like, Royals, to me, you got to play double-digit games against the Royals and Rockies. Barf me. Like, I do not want to play double-digit games against the Royals and Rockies. Astros, totally down for. I really hope that they don't do the Florida teams with us either. I don't want to watch us play the Rays for 12 games. I don't want to watch us play Miami for 12 games. Give me St. Louis. I'd take St. Louis if we get the Royals. I need St. Louis. I cannot get Royals, Rockies, Astros as my three teams in the division. Please. I would actually like to see something like Royals, Cubs, Cardinals, Astros, Rangers. I did kind of tell y'all last week, though, I don't know if they're going to take the Cubs without the White Sox. Like, if you're really going for division realignment, like, why wouldn't you put the two Chicago teams in the same division? If you're really going for better travel, why wouldn't you put Chicago's, both of them, in the same division? So my thought was something like, White Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, and then Rangers, Astros. That was kind of my thought. And then you put the Royals in with Minnesota, and you put them in with Milwaukee, and maybe you put them in with Colorado, something like that. I thought that made a little bit more sense. We'll see. I think it's a lot to talk about that's probably not going to happen for a while, so that's why I haven't really wasted a lot of time. I know a lot of accounts really jumped on it. It's just not inspiring to me at this point because I think it's still a ways away. You're not really going to do this until you get an expansion team or expansion teams. And so far, I haven't really heard anything ramping up with expansion teams yet. I think this is still like a 5, 6, 7 year in the making concept. I do like that concept too, though. I like that idea too, Jack. Certain cities having an AL and an NL team, that is kind of fun. But at the same time, if you're really going for travel, easier on the players, why wouldn't you put both New Yorks in the same division, both LAs in the same division, both Chicagos in the same division? Like it only makes sense. It's a little bit not hypocritical, but I think it's a lot ironic if you're telling people that you want to realign to help the players out, but you're not putting teams that are from the same city in the same division. Uncle D, appreciate the follow, man. Thanks so much. Astros are America's team. Thanks for the laugh. Ish, thank you. We need comedic relief sometimes on the show. I think the Astros are just about the opposite, the furthest opposite you can get from America's team. Damon, hook 'em horns, baby. Hook 'em horns. Someone put the Twins with us in a South Division. Marco, that's what I'm saying. I have seen a lot of wild ideas for division realignment. A lot of wild ideas. I don't think anything I said is all that wild. Like, if you were to keep the teams that I said, I think all those teams are Central Time Zone. I think Chicago's in the Central Time Zone, isn't it? Pretty sure. Let me look this up. I should know this, but yeah, Chicago Central. So look, if you did Royals and you did Cardinals, Rangers, Astros, both the Chicago teams, or if you dump the Royals, both Chicago teams are in the Central Time Zone. Cardinals are, Rangers are, Astros are. I mean, I think what you got to go for is trying to keep teams in the same division, in the same time zone, if at all possible. Astros are the cheaters team. Seriously. Hey, Uncle D, you're in the right place, man. Hey, and if you don't mind, brother, after the show or at some point, if you know somebody else that's a diehard Ranger fan, share one of my videos with them, man. Tell them about the channel. I'd love that. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the support. All right. What do we got here? Let me go back to YouTube here. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. We're doing pretty good on time, man. Honestly, wow. We're doing pretty well. I figured we were definitely over an hour at this point. Flames, appreciate you dropping by. It's okay, buddy. You don't know you've made it until you've got some haters dropping in. You don't know you've made it until then. Rangers are clearly starting to get under some people's skin. You got a lot of people trying to clap back after a sweep of the Guardians. I get it. I get it. Rangers are on a great roll right now. Hopefully they can continue it into the Angels series. They win 6 in a row. They sweep both series at home. You're going to hear a lot of noise. A lot of noise about the Rangers. Even if they win 2 out of 3. 5 of 6, that's huge. 5 of 6 is big deal. You know what? I think you got to bump up the security a little bit more, Jack. I'm not a fan of doing things out of fear. I think you just got to bump up security. And you know what? It's all for TV anyways. And TV wants Padres-Dodgers. TV wants more rivalries. So TV's going to rule, man. Whatever. Streaming. Look, there's a lot of different ways to watch games these days. What matters is money. And they are going to put together, I think, divisions that are going to be money makers, not divisions that are going to force the Rangers to play the Rockies for 12 games. Man, I'm sorry. Look, the Rockies, unfortunately, don't really have any rivals anyways, so that's going to be a boon for really any division, having teams like the Rockies. And you know what? Even the Royals to an extent. I know the Royals have the I-70 series with the Cardinals, but still. Like the Royals just don't have a lot of great rivalries. There are some teams that are going to be a little bit of a question mark, head scratcher. Where's the best fit for them? Rangers definitely still have a shot, Matthew, for the wild card. Appreciate you stopping by. Definitely feel like they've got a shot. I'll go to Fangraphs. Let's check out what Fangraphs has us at. Let's see. Playoff chances. Let's get it. Let's see what they have us at now. If they've updated, we'll see if they've got us at 500 right now. Yes, we are at 500. We are 6.5 games out of the division. They have us at a 12% chance to make the playoffs, 11.6 to be exact. 11.6. We have a 0.5% chance to win the World Series. How about that? A 10.2% chance to clinch the wild card, a 1.4% chance to win the division. So you're saying that there is a chance. And look, if the Rangers can win a bunch of games against the Astros down the stretch, there absolutely is still a chance of the division. You're going to have to go sweep mode a couple of different times, it feels like, but just get in. That's really all I care about. Just get in. The Astros and the Mariners, by the way, 92% chance to make the playoffs for the Astros, 87% chance to make the playoffs for the Mariners. All right, let me get back into the game from today. I want to close this one out. We talked about Josh Smith. He did have a walk today. That was nice to see. He did have a hit today, a little bit of a bloop, but I think you got to move Wyatt Langford into leadoff role. I think they'll probably keep rolling with Josh Smith because that's just kind of what this team does. But Wyatt Langford continued to get on base. He was on twice today, had a hit, had a walk as well. The hit wasn't anything special, a little blooper over the second baseman's head, but it plated 2 runs. It's a big hit to get some insurance in a 4-run fourth inning. Corey Seager, 2 for 5. Seager has not been hitting the long ball, but he has been putting together some really good performances of late. And Corey Seager quietly, 407 average over his last 7 games, hitting over 1,000 in terms of the OPS. Very quiet 400, 1,000 mark for Corey Seager over his last 7 games. He's had a lot of multi-hit. He's been impressive. Jock Peterson struck the ball well today. He had a screamer that was right at the center fielder early on in this one. Ended up going 1 for 5 with an RBI. Good to see Jock hitting the baseball hard. The hard hit rate was, I think, over 60% is what they showed on the broadcast. He is definitely looking a lot more like himself. Adolis Garcia, 2 walks today. Big number for him, by the way, because we all know a patient, balanced Dolly is the absolute best version of him. And it's going to be interesting. You know, Dolly obviously is a guy that I felt and I've said for a long time is not going to be playing with the Rangers in 2026. There is some speculation. I was reading Jamie Newberg, who I'd highly recommend you go follow. He is mainly on X, and he's also on Substack as well. That's where he puts out a lot of his content. Definitely would recommend it. But Jamie was kind of musing, do the Rangers potentially waive Adolis Garcia to get some salary relief before the August 31st deadline? And if Dolly is playing better, it's way more likely that a team is actually going to pick him up. I know this may seem crazy to some of you guys. I think it really does depend where the Rangers are at in a week's time. The waiver deadline is August 31st. And basically, if a player is not added to another team's roster by the 31st, they are not eligible for the postseason. And so it's a kind of a big deal, right? But if teams see Adolis doing things like this, the concept is they're much more likely to pick him up and take on the money. He's got a couple million left owed to him if he's playing well over these next 6-7 days. I think it's still very possible the Rangers keep him, especially if they do something great like sweep the Angels and go into Sacramento and win at least 2 out of 3. I think there's a big chance that the Rangers just hold him. But if Dolly plays well, the team falters a little bit, I'm not going to be surprised. They might end up doing something like that. We keep on going. Rowdy Tellez. We already talked about Rowdy, sung his praises. I think he is one of the most influential bats over the course of the last month, helping to get this offense back to borderline watchable, up from completely and horribly putrid. Rowdy Tellez, 1 for 2. He had 2 walks today as well. On base, a lot of different ways, including the big home run. Really, really good to see. We keep going. Higgy, 0 for 3 with a walk. I think Higgy is in an 0 for 19 right now, if I'm not mistaken. It's a kind of a quiet 0 for 19, but I do believe it is an 0 for 19. I'm going to go to the game logs right now. Let's see. Higgy. 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 0 for 3, 0 for 2. I got to go back a little bit. I think it's not quite that bad, but he's definitely right now in an 0 for 12, and it could be as high as 0 for 14, I believe. Okay, here we go. Higgy, definitely a guy that has been really good for us over the summer months. Seems to play much better on the road than at home, and I think the splits would back that up. I'll tell you what I mean in a second here. Kyle Higashioka at home is a 588 OPS hitter. Kyle Higashioka on the road, 779 OPS. You're talking about a 200-point difference. Kyle Higashioka at home versus on the road, and he's a much better hitter on the road. Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Lifelong Rangers fan. Let's go. Appreciate the follow. Man, thank you so much. It's good stuff. We hang out pretty much after every game. Sometimes I go live in the 8th or the 9th inning, and we just do a little bit of everything, man. I've got my talking points. I take a bunch of comments and questions. If you've been hanging out for a little while and you haven't hit that follow button yet, let's go. Come on now. It's fun. We just hang out, talk Rangers baseball. We talk pretty much everything at some point or another. All the happenings of the game, players of the game, guys that are scuffling a little bit, need to pick it up. We do a little bit of everything, man. We did win. We did. Good stuff. NFL Argentina was good. Thanks for hanging out. And appreciate the follow as well. Yeah, refs blind. I think that is the play. You got to win 3 series coming up here. You got to win against the Angels, the A's, the Diamondbacks. And if one of them could be a sweep, that would be highly preferable. If you can go 2 out of 3 against 2 and sweep 1, I think that would be probably the most ideal outcome here. Great comment. In 9 games against the Angels, A's, and Diamondbacks, how many do you think we need to really be back in it? Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I think you've got to try and win something like 7 games over the next 9, 7-2. I think 6-3 could probably get it done, refs blind. But I think 7-2 would definitely be ideal. All right, Higgy, again, over his last 7 games, 0.87 average for Kyle Higashioka. It's a big problem right now. The catcher position, Higgy's been serviceable, but I've been very clear, and I'm going to continue to beat this drum. We've got to get a primary catcher next year. Higgy is not a primary catcher. I was going back and forth with a couple of people online. I've gone back and forth about this many times, but I will say this. I'm not going to get on my catcher ERA soapbox, but can we please stop using catcher ERA as a legitimate argument for why we need to keep certain guys around or why a catcher is good or better than another catcher? Catcher ERA is a ridiculous stat to use. It looks good, but when you really pull back the layers on it, it is a super meaningless stat. I'm sorry. When you've got Jacob deGrom and when you got Nathan Eovaldi and when you've got other guys like Jack Leiter, look, Jack's got a 3.80 ERA. That's pretty good. When you've got guys that are throwing well and are basically aces in Major League Baseball, Merrill Kelly, throw him in there. Couldn't you make the argument that any catcher is probably going to have a good ERA or at least be better off for it, having Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi and Merrill Kelly throwing to them 3 out of 5 days? Catcher ERA, such an overrated stat. I don't get why we're still using it to make legitimate arguments for and against catchers. I could care less what the catcher ERA is for Higgy and what the catcher ERA is for Heim. I want to see, how are they blocking? Do they control the running game? Spoiler alert, the answer is not very well for each one of those. And then another argument was, well, Heim and Higgy have not really disadvantaged us very much this season in terms of defense. What? Bro, literally every time a runner gets on base, it's almost a guaranteed stolen base depending on who it is that's running. We don't throw anybody out. Now, we've thrown out some guys this year, but we don't throw runners out. How can you say that Higgy and Heim don't disadvantage us. Every time a guy gets a single, if they're halfway fast, they're on second base. And it's nearly a given. If you go look at the advanced stats, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They do put us at a disadvantage. It's a credit to the pitching staff that we're able to work around the stolen bases that we allow. There's really no argument for keeping Kyle Higashioka as a mainstay primary catcher. His framing is definitely elite in the game of baseball, but next year with ABS Challenge, framing is going to take a hit. Framing is not going to be as valuable next year when a team has multiple challenges on balls and strikes. You're not going to get as many bad calls going your way, balls being called strikes, because now you've got a challenge system. We have not had a ton of base runners thrown out. I'd love to see the percentages there, my guy. Let me check this out for you. I don't want to be calling out people for no reason here. Let me just kind of try and drop a little bit of truth into this, so that way we can all be on the same page. So we'll go to the defensive stats for Kyle Higashioka here, and I'll try and kind of clue you into what's going on. Fielding stats, let's do it. So we've got standard fielding, and let's go to thrown out base runners. Caught stealing percentage right now is 16.9 for Kyle Higashioka. He has thrown out 10 base runners out of 59. The league caught stealing percentage, by the way, is about 22%. So look, he's definitely below average. That's league average. League average is 22%. Kyle Higashioka's at 17. So he's a below average controller of the base pass when it comes to stolen bases. Let's see what Jonah Heim is at. So we know Higgy is a below average in terms of throwing out runners. Jonah Heim, when we look at standard fielding for him, caught stealing percentage for him is, again, below league average. So you've got league caught stealing percentage at around 22.5%. Jonah's at about 19.9 from what it looks like. So both are below average, below league average when it comes to controlling the base runners. I'm just not a fan of keeping either one of these guys as our primary catcher for next year. There needs to be a reset of the catcher position. I think you can keep Kyle Higashioka around as a backup, as a secondary option, maybe even platoon him at DH here and there. I'm not a fan of a whole lot else. Duran is definitely a guy that's doing pretty well. I think that Duran needs to be playing as much as he possibly can until this hot streak comes to an end. Jeremy, I'm with you. Langford definitely does feel like the engine right now. Absolutely. Jock Peterson, Ben, incredible. Incredible over the last month or so, I would say. OPS is over 800 in August. That's great. Outstanding. We keep going. We wrap it up. We just talked about Higgy. Josh Young, 2 for 4. Good to see him go multi-hit again. I'd love to see Josh Young pick it up and really have a special finish to the year. I think we all would. Would love to see Cody Freeman get a little bit more playing time. I don't know how you justify Josh Smith over Cody Freeman right now. If you want to play Ezekiel Duran every day, I get it, but I just don't think Cody Freeman should be getting benched a whole lot at this point in the season. I think Josh Smith needs to start ceding at bats to Cody Freeman and Ezekiel Duran. I don't think there's a whole lot reason to blindly play Josh Smith right now, a guy that's hitting under 200 in his last 30. Is it his last 30 now? Josh Smith, last 30 games, is batting 194. That doesn't sound like a guy that needs to be locked into a lineup. The OPS for Josh Smith is at 547. That doesn't sound like a guy that needs to be locked into a lineup. 547 over your last 30 games. Doesn't sound like a guy you need to DFA, but do you really need to be playing Josh Smith over Cody Freeman right now? I think Cody can do everything Josh can do out in the field. Cody Freeman is a great defender. That is definitely something that's well documented. He's fast. He's got a lot of intangibles. I think Josh Smith needs to start losing some ABs to either Zeke Duran or Cody Freeman until he can start figuring it out. He's batting 130 over his last 7. He has got a 297 OPS. Josh Smith, a 297 OPS over his last 7 games. And you know what? Honestly, the hit that he had today, a bloop over the third baseman's head, very lucky to get that hit. Otherwise, this would be lower. Freeman, I think, needs to be playing. At this point, you need to have Freeman in the lineup. You either are benching Josh Smith or benching Zeke Duran. I'd love to see Cody Freeman get 2 straight weeks of playing time while Marcus Semien is on the IL. In fact, I said it last night. It's a perfect opportunity to just give Cody Freeman a runway. Stop doing this play every 2 games, then get benched on the 3rd day. Let Cody Freeman play for 2 straight weeks while Semien is recovering. See what you've got. See if it's something worth playing beyond Semien coming back. I'd love to see it. I don't know if they're going to do it. Keep rolling. Y'all are relentless with the cow comps, man, and I love it. I love it. Padres are down 7-2 to the Dodgers. All right, then. Dodger Blue, thanks for stopping by. Can I get a signature, Cal? We'll see. I don't do a lot of autographs, but I might be able to make an exception, Ray. Bram, appreciate you, man. And Aaron, thank you for the gifts. Means a lot. Thank you for the generosity. All right, let's close out today. We went through the entire offense, so now we go to the pitching. Merrill Kelly, you got to re-sign this guy. Put every effort into getting him inked up for the next couple of years. I think you got to offer him a 3-year deal. I think there will be other teams out there willing to give him 3 years. I think that has to be the starting point. I don't think he's going to get Evo money, but I see something like a 3-year, $60 million deal as very realistic. Evo got $25 million a year. I don't think that Merrill Kelly is on Evo level. I think if you can get him 3 years, $60 million, that feels doable. It replaces John Gray, $13 million a year. Tyler Mahle was at $16 million a year. I think you can go out and get Merrill Kelly, go out and get you a big bat, and I think you can fill in the offense with some of these young guys. I think that would be okay to do. Could we get one legitimate bat in free agency and re-sign Merrill Kelly? I think Merrill will be about 20 a year, and then you probably got around 30 million to play with for offense. Yes, you do have to fill in the bullpen. Those guys aren't going to be crazy expensive. The Rangers do a great job of getting a lot of value out of the bullpen pieces. So, yes, you're probably going to lose guys like Hobie Milner in the offseason, maybe Armstrong, and clearly Maton and Coulomb are both going to be gone. You might be able to re-sign some of those guys, but a lot of those guys are going to be wanting some higher paying gigs, and more power to them. Rangers have always done a good job in the Chris Young era getting value out of the bullpen. So I'd like to see big bat, big re-signing of Merrill Kelly, who was outstanding today. Jack Leiter, the numbers were a little bit better last night, but pretty good way to follow it up, man. 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks. Outstanding from Merrill Kelly. Danny Coulomb, Hobie Milner, lefties come in, do work. 2 innings pitched between those 2 guys. 1 hit allowed, 1 strikeout. Coulomb down to 1.85 ERA on the year. Hobie Milner, 2.79. Both those guys have been huge in a Rangers uniform this season. Obviously, Hobie Milner been doing it all year. Danny Coulomb been pretty sharp in his time with the Rangers. A few bad outings here and there, but by and large, Danny Coulomb had a really, really good year with the Twins, and he's continuing it with Texas. By the way, the Danny Coulomb fastball, one of the nastiest pitches in baseball this year. I think it is the nastiest pitch in baseball. Danny Coulomb's four-seam fastball. They did like a big metric study on this, and they put out all these different pitchers, and basically the nasty factor on them, Danny Coulomb's fastball was like up at the top of the list. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We keep going. Tomorrow's game. Angels coming to town. deGrom Day. let's see what we have got for pitching matchups and what we have got for how each lineup has fared against each opposing pitcher. But first, let me stop, and I want to give a special thank you to all of my paid subscribers and paid members on both TikTok and on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support of the show. Everybody that's followed today, everybody that's commented, if you've liked the live, we just got up over 5,000 likes on TikTok. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. If you haven't liked the show yet, double tap on your screen a few times while you're watching. I know it might not seem like a big deal. Helps get our show out to more and more people whenever you like it on TikTok. If you're on YouTube and you haven't liked the live yet, please give it a like. Same thing. It might seem like a little thing, but it really helps get the word out about the show, gets us in other people's algorithms, all that good stuff. I'll keep it simple, but thank you so much. And look, if you have been watching the show for a while and you want to take your support to the next level, and you also want to get an exclusive perk of getting into our Right on Rangers Discord, $2.99 a month for a subscription to the channel, to the show. And right afterwards, like I said, we'll get you into that Discord channel. It's been great over the last few months. We've really built up an outstanding community. I'd love for you to be a part of it. It is $2.99 a month. Bottom left corner on TikTok, you hit that subscribe button, and we'll get you into the channel right after the show is over. If you were on YouTube or if you were on X, I'm going to drop the link into the chat for you guys. Appreciate you considering. It all goes to help support me and the content that I produce here at Right on Rangers. But just know, we don't take any support for granted. The follows, the comments, the likes, the shares, the watch time, it's all good. And we are thankful, extremely thankful to all you guys. Can't say thank you enough. You absolutely have played a huge part in this show becoming bigger and bigger. I know some of you guys obviously share the show with other people. Some of you guys spread the word in other ways, but it means so much. And, you know, we put in the hard work here, making the content, but you guys are what make it grow by continuing to like it, to share it with other people. Thank you again. All right, here's our preview of tomorrow's game. Let's get it. We've got Jacob deGrom on the bump. deGrom has not looked great against the Angels this year. It has not been super encouraging. We'll give you the splits on Jacob deGrom against the Angels in 2025 here in just a second. I do think both deGrom starts have taken place against the Angels in Anaheim. That might be a little bit of a thing. I'll get you guys the numbers, though. Both starts, I think it's just been 2, if I'm not mistaken. We go to the opponents. Good old baseball ref, always coming in clutch for us. So against the Angels, 2 games. ERA in those 2 games is sitting at, 6.97. Yuck. That is by far, beyond his start against Tampa Bay, 6.97 is by far the worst ERA Jacob deGrom has against an opponent in 2025. 10 innings pitched, 8 earned runs, 3 homers allowed. Now, there was some talk, I think Mike Baxick was kind of alluding to it. Did the Angels have something on deGrom, tipping of the pitches? How are they hitting him this well? I think that is definitely something to explore. You know, it's something that Jacob deGrom has looked into. Yes, just to confirm, deGrom made both starts against the Angels in LA this year. This will be his first start against the Angels at Globe Life Field this season. I do think that probably makes a difference. Globe Life has definitely been a pitcher's ballpark this year. The ball just not flying out of there in the same way that it has in previous years. Saw a lot of talk over the weekend about that, by the way. What is going on with Globe Life becoming a pitcher's park? It's just not how it played in 2023. You don't really know if there's any straight answers out there, but I imagine Jacob deGrom has a better outing against the Angels in the friendly confines of Globe Life. I really do. And we go to the stats against the Angels lineup and each Angels hitter. Let's check it out. By the way, Soriano going for the Angels tomorrow. I think we were able to get to Soriano last time out, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can get a little game log up for Soriano. I think that I'll be able to confirm that for you guys. Let's see. Texas. He started July 8th, and he gave up 5 earned runs in 4 innings. So he also started July 30th. He had a much better game on July 30th. 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. 2 total runs allowed, but only 1 earned, 7 strikeouts. So he has a bad start and he has a good start against Texas. We will see what ends up happening. He also started on April 16th and he got roughed up. So it's actually kind of 2 bad starts and 1 good one. We'll see what he's able to do tomorrow, but here are the numbers either way. Rangers against Soriano. Duran and Freeman, no ABs. Adolis Garcia, 1 for 9 against Soriano. We've also got Jonah Heim, 1 for 10. Yuck. So far, a lot of yuck. A combined 1 for 19 in the first 2 hitters we've gone through. Hopefully it gets a little better. Hellman, no ABs. Higgy, 2 for 6. I like that. Maybe tomorrow Kyle Higashioka gets off the schneid. Josh Young, 0 for 7. Blech. Langford, 3 for 5. Hello, I like that. Osuna, no ABs. Jock Peterson, 0 for 7. A lot of offers, man. Come on now. Corey Seager, I like this. 4 for 9 with a bomb against Soriano. Maybe Seager gets back in a groove against the Angels. He does like to punish the Angels. He really does. Rowdy Tellez, 0 for 2. Josh Smith, 1 for 7 against Soriano. Little bit of a mixed bag. The Rangers, like I said, have hit around Soriano a couple of times this year. Hopefully this will be time number 3 tomorrow. Now on the other side, against deGrom, Joe Adell, 1 for 4. Cavadas, 0 for 1, an outfielder for the Angels. Lugo, Moncada, and Moore, no ABs. Neto, 3 for 6, Angel shortstop in his career. Ohapi, 1 for 3. Peraza, 0 for 1. Rengifo, 1 for 4. Mike Trout, 2 for 5 against Jacob deGrom. Taylor Ward, 1 for 8 with a homer. Travis d'Arnaud, 3 for 10 with 2 homers. Got to look out for Travis d'Arnaud tomorrow. Ranger killer Travis d'Arnaud, by the way. Marcus Semien out 6 to 8 weeks. Is that the news that's coming down? Let me see. Semien injury. Let me see what we can pull up here. Let's see. Set for prolonged absence. Yikes. This was 22 minutes ago. RotoWire. Sideline him 4 to 6 weeks. That's what Sean McFarland says. Dallas Morning News. 4 to 6 weeks, Marcus will be out, so we won't be seeing Marcus Semien until October, if that's the case. That's why I say just give Cody Freeman the spot. Like, I know Josh Smith, veteran, blah, blah, blah. The dude is hitting sub 300 OPS over his last 7 games. Like, come on. Get Cody Freeman in there. Let's go. Give Josh a little mental day. It's time. It's time. Give him another mental day if he's had one recently. Seriously. So hopefully the Rangers get to Jose Soriano tomorrow. That is the plan. We're sticking to it. Getting up on that hour-and-a-half moment. Let me check some comments one more time. Josh Hamilton, greatest Ranger ever. Definitely the most legendary Ranger ever. Michael Young, I think, for greatest Ranger ever. You might be asking, what's the difference? Michael Young, obviously the hits leader. By the way, little trivia here. Did y'all know that Michael Young never went on the IL in his 14-year career? I didn't know that. I did not realize they were talking about Marcus Semien and how few times Semien has gone on the IL. Marcus Semien, I think it's the second time he's been on the IL in his career. Michael Young never went on the IL in his 14-year career. That is an incredible feat. Truly incredible. Couldn't believe it when I saw it. Definitely Josh Hamilton, though, to me, most legendary Ranger of all time. I think greatest Ranger, you might have to put MY up there. MY might need to be greatest Ranger of all time. He has the hits. He has the length, the longevity. Not quite a career-long Ranger, but pretty close. MY, I think, definitely is up there in that discussion for sure. All right. Marcus, a fracture now too? I believe so, yes. I believe that is what is going on, Natalie, with the foot for Marcus Semien. Out 4 to 6 weeks. Devastating news for the Rangers. I don't think it puts them out of it. Marcus, He was not producing at a super high level at the time of the injury. He does give you leadership, but he can still give you that from the clubhouse. He can still give you that from the bench. It's not completely the same, but you're still going to have Marcus Simeon's presence around the team. I think that Cody Freeman, I think that some of the other guys can keep up the production. Maybe this is a shakeup that is a positive for Texas. I said the silver lining of the Simeon injury is you're going to see more Cody Freeman. You're going to see more opportunities for Ezekiel Duran, something I never thought I would say this year, but here we are. I think that the Rangers can be okay without Marcus Simeon. As much as I love Simi, he was not producing well over the last month. I think that this might be a blessing in disguise, and maybe Marcus Simeon comes back and lights it on fire, and I hope that that is the case. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I really don't. TPT, appreciate that. Yeah, Chatty, I'm with you. It's not devastating. We are going to do okay. I really don't think he is the difference maker, if you will, in the lineup anyways at this point in his career. I think he's nice to have. He's going to give you Gold Glove defense. The leadership and the intangibles are 100% there, but he can still provide some of that even while he doesn't play. And I think that he'll continue to make an impression on people, the rehab, the things that he's going to do to get himself back on the field as quickly as possible. I would absolutely love to see Marcus back in October. I think that if he does come back in October, you will see him start games. Unless Cody Freeman is like on an all-time heater or Zeke Duran, same thing. That is going to be interesting, though. If you make the playoffs without Marcus Simeon, it's going to be interesting what they do with him. That is something that I am curious to see, especially if you've got a guy like Zeke Duran or Cody Freeman being a big factor in why you made the playoffs. That would be really, really interesting. First game back, 7th game of the ALCS. That'd be right pretty much on track. I mean, 6 weeks from now, you're in mid-October, at least in the ALDS, maybe the ALCS. I do enjoy watching Formula One more than NASCAR. I can't say I'm a big, super Formula One fan. One of my best friends is, and he kind of got me turned on to it. And when Formula One came to Las Vegas, I started getting a little bit more into it, even more so. But I can't say that I'm the biggest Formula One car racing guy, but I do like Formula One better than NASCAR. I got to be real. I do enjoy it more for whatever reason. And I think it has something to do with the fact that they have the race now on the strip here in town. Ever since then, ever since that got announced, I found myself getting into it a little bit more. NASCAR is classic. I'm not hating on NASCAR, but I probably do find myself watching more Formula One than I do NASCAR, if I'm being real. All right. I think that's it, y'all. Let me see. Harrison, I don't know if he's still hanging out. First time tuned in a while, and he's still saying to stop playing guys in a slump. Can't slump at all without dang near losing your job. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming Harrison's probably out of the live at this point. Harrison, if you're still hanging out, good to see you, buddy. I mean, I don't know. At what point do you say a guy hitting under 200 over his last 30 games probably doesn't need to be playing as much? If this was April or May, maybe you'd have an argument. But come on now. You want to keep playing a guy that's sitting under 200 over his last 30 games when pretty much every game is a do or die? I don't know. I can't go there with some people that refuse to look at the numbers. Josh Smith is not Corey Seager. Josh Smith is not an all-star level player at this point in his career. It is not a hot take to say Josh Smith should lose at bats to guys that are playing better than him right now. You have to put the best 9 on the field. You have to put your best foot forward when every game matters at this point. To me, it seems kind of weird to think the opposite, that Josh Smith should continue to get at bat after at bat, let alone lead off ball games night after night, when bro has under a 200 batting average and a sub 600 OPS over his last 30 games. I mean, at what point are we saying it's beyond a slump? I don't know. I don't mean to speak and negatively or disrespectfully, we're just saying numbers out loud. I didn't say Josh Smith is the most trash player I've ever seen, or he sucks, or he's terrible. I did tell you what his numbers are over the last 30. And if your takeaway is he still needs to be playing every night, I can't help you. I'm sorry. All right, y'all. On that note, let's transition to a positive, hopeful comment. The Rangers in this series with the Angels have two of their best pitchers throwing. Jacob deGrom on Monday, and I believe Nate Eovaldi set to throw on Wednesday. There's no way that you should lose this series. Zero way that you should lose this series. You should sweep. If you can't sweep, you at least got to win 2 out of 3. And I like the comment from earlier on TikTok. You got to win 2 out of 3, and could you at least sweep 1? I think that would make a huge, huge difference. That would be absolutely pivotal for the Rangers' playoff chances. And I think they've got a good chance to do it. We'll see what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday brings. Again, tomorrow we will be live after the game, 8th, 9th inning even potentially. But Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit up in the air. I'll have to keep you posted. I will not be doing a Wednesday show. Thursday, we will definitely be on the off day to review the Wednesday game and to talk about the Friday, Saturday, Sunday series with the A's in Sacramento. Tuesday might just be a really, really late night one. I'll have to see, but we'll definitely be on tomorrow. So let's just stop it right there. Try and have a reel out to you guys later tonight. That's kind of my plan right now. I got a couple of ideas. You guys have given me some inspiration as well through the comments, so we shall see. I'll try and have that out later tonight, maybe before y'all hit the sack. One big idea that I have, I just want to talk a little bit about what happens in the wake of this Marcus Semien injury. We've already kind of talked about it on the show. I think you know where I stand. That's, I think, where I'm kind of going to be going, the direction of it. Do a little Cody Freeman highlighting. He's had a great weekend to play. We'll see where inspiration takes us, but that's where I'm thinking right now. Look, Joseph, here's what I'll say about Smitty. If you go to Josh Smith's numbers, advanced stat-wise, right? Josh Smith, baseball savant. The walks are not plentiful, and a leadoff hitter has to be able to walk. He did have a walk today, but Josh Smith, I think, has 4 walks in his last 16 games. Not ideal. And the contact is very soft. He is in the 18th percentile when it comes to average exit velocity. He's in the 13th percentile when it comes to hard hit rate. This is a guy that is in the 12th percentile in bat speed. The expected WOBA is at 31. He is below league average when it comes to that rolling expected WOBA. Expected slugging is at 24th percentile. He does have a pretty good K rate and whiff rate. So what that means is he's not striking out a lot and he's not missing a lot when he does swing, but the contact is soft and he doesn't walk enough. And by the way, a lot of us see Josh Smith as a pretty good fielder. Josh Smith is 13th percentile in range and outs above average. He's mid when it comes to arm strength, mid when it comes to sprint speed. Josh Smith definitely, I think, probably a little bit elevated when it comes to people's perceptions of the defense. Advanced stats would tell you he's below average defensively. I think that Josh Smith right now is still a very valuable piece, but I don't think he needs to be batting leadoff, and I don't think he needs to be getting more at-bats than Ezekiel Duran and Cody Freeman right now. Who am I putting at 1? Wyatt Langford. Easy. I don't think there's any overthinking that needs to be done there. Appreciate the comment, by the way. Wyatt Langford. Clear cut. It has to be the guy. Yep. Wyatt, don't overthink it. If you got to move Corey Seager up to second, you move him up to second. You guys know I'd rather see Siegs hit third. I just like it better, but look, if you're going to make the move, Wyatt Langford, I actually say continue to hit Corey Seager behind Wyatt Langford. If you notice, this is another idea I had for a reel too. If you notice, when they started hitting Wyatt Langford in front of Corey Seager, That's when the turnaround happened. That's when Wyatt has started to heat up. They made the move. We're going to hit Wyatt Langford in front of Corey Seager. And Corey Seager protecting Wyatt Langford, if you will, has made all the difference. Because teams do not want to face Corey Seager, so they will throw to Wyatt Langford so they don't have to face Corey Seager in a big moment. It's been a big reason that Wyatt Langford has taken off, and I don't hear it talked about enough. It has made all the difference for him. Rowdy, love Rowdy, and I said earlier on in the show, you might be able to point back to the Rangers signing Rowdy as a turning point in the offense, where the offense went from absolutely terrible to borderline watchable. So I'm a big Rowdy fan, love what he brought in the game today, and feel like he's had a number of big hits since they signed him. I can think of multiple. I think in his first week, remember he had that big 2 or 3 run bomb. He's had game-tying home runs in the 9th inning. The home run today was huge. I love Rowdy Tellez. All right, y'all. Let me end on that note. Rowdy's a good note to end on. We'll be back tomorrow, 8th or 9th inning. We will have a reel out to you guys a little bit later on as well. Let me see. What did I miss on YouTube here? My comments were taking a second to load here. Austin, yep, we'll see you later, man. Taylor agreed with you. Wyatt definitely should be leadoff. Hey, appreciate that, man. I always need the backup. Look, sometimes I'm saying things on here. I'm responding to people that are thinking the opposite of me, which, by the way, I welcome. I don't mind people disagreeing with me at all. I mean, I'll give you my 2 cents, but it's never personal. There's no hard feelings. It's part of the fun of the show is you have differing opinions, right? Absolutely. Wyatt did lead off that comeback in the 9th. It's another reason why I like Wyatt Langford leading off. Wyatt Langford in that comeback had a 2-out walk that was absolutely huge to us winning. Wyatt Langford, I feel like, is in the mix of a lot of the success. He's got his fingerprints all over the success that the Rangers have had over the past few games. Got to keep this thing going, man. I'm with you. Absolutely. Are the Rangers going to the World Series? I'm not going to go that far. Let's start with playoffs, and I think if you had to make me bet on it right now, I'm betting yes, but they've got a lot of work to do. All right, y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. I will see y'all later. We went a little bit long today, but that's okay. When you're talking about a sweep and a lot of positive things going on, it's easy to go a little bit over time. And I appreciate you guys hanging out, but I hope you have a great rest of the Sunday and a good week ahead. We'll be back tomorrow night. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.